All right. It says it is recording. I'm going to trust that that works. My name is Adrian Amandi. I'm the director of the statewide outreach services at the California School for the Blind, and I'm very excited for this to be our first recorded new CAPVI meeting. I'm very thankful to our board for the new board of CAPVI for making this happen and happy to be a partner in it. This first topic today is orientation and mobility. And I'm excited to welcome two of our teacher specialists at the California School for the Blind from our short-term programs. Erica Hogle is an orientation and mobility specialist, and Cyndi Davis is an orientation and mobility specialist as well as a teacher of the visually impaired. I'm excited and go ahead and take it away, guys. Thank you for being here.
All right, thank you. And hi everybody. Really happy to be here. It's so nice to see a couple of parents that I know already, a couple of familiar faces. Um, I'm going to start us off very briefly talking about what O&M is because I'm pretty confident that most of you already have a pretty good idea of what it is. But when Cyndi and I were talking about what we wanted to say, we wanted to expand this idea of O&M just a bit further and also make sure that we're all on the same page. Um, O&M in and of itself is really how one travels with a visual impairment safely, efficiently, and independently. We also added confidently, which is a huge piece as well. So one of the ways that I like to think about O&M and how I've described it to parents before is it's really anytime your child is moving through space. So it's something that your children are thinking about and acting on pretty much all the time. And it's one of the few things that is really present pretty much throughout your child's entire day. And so with that being said, it's easily one of the greatest needs that often don't get the attention that it deserves, in my very biased opinion, because it's not quote unquote academic. And I deliberately say quote unquote because it's certainly a huge piece of academic success, and one could argue it's actually much more academic than what it looks like on the surface. So with that mind frame, O&M is always looking for opportunities to follow this philosophy of how to travel the safest, most efficient, and independently and confidently, like I mentioned. So one of the examples that I like to give is even when a student is being guided, it could be seemingly an act that's not independent, but in fact, there are opportunities for independence even when someone is being guided. And certainly, in my experience, even the most independent travelers certainly need a guide at times. It's an opportunity where a student always has the choice whether to hold on to someone's arm or to let go, as opposed to being dragged through space. So this is a really basic example of being guided. But even in just sort of the seemingly basic example, there's still O&M opportunity here in regards to what's safe, what's efficient, and what's independent. And of course, what's independent is going to look different with every student. So I know, well, what Adrian shared with us is that you were really interested in getting some takeaways. So Cyndi and I really wanted to focus on our short time. Both of us recognized we could really and have gone on about these topics forever and ever. But to try to keep things concise and make sure that you walk away from this talk feeling like you have some ideas to work on, some things to think about, something that you can even implement tomorrow. So one of the things that I like to discuss with families is incorporating your child into things that you're already doing. And some of these things may be things that you've already contemplated, that you've already done. But our lives are always changing, and certainly the lives of your children are always changing with every new stage. So some of the examples that Cyndi and I were thinking about highlighting were things like checking the mail, taking out the trash, and finding sort of chores that your children could be incorporated into. And in our experience, oftentimes, especially when using this word independent, it can it can feel like a really big leap. Uh, to all of a sudden, okay, I really need to make sure that my child is doing something like checking the mail completely on their own. But really, all of these things can be broken down into whatever step is most appropriate for them. So maybe checking the mail just means that they're coming with you to check the mail. Then later on, they are the ones that are checking the mailbox. Maybe it's their responsibility to carry the mail themselves. And then next time, after some practice, you're just watching them go and check the mail. So it's really meant to just highlight there's lots of different ways that something like that could look. Same with taking out the trash. Maybe it's even just their job to go to where the new trash bags are and hand it to you, all the way up to just taking out the trash themselves. Um, and if you're stuck on ideas as far as like what to implement, what to do, um, I often have the discussion with families as far as what are other kids doing that are the same age and what responsibilities are they taking on, whether or not that's the same responsibility your child is going to take. It's another place to look for ideas and inspiration. And one of my most favorite things to say to parents is how can you be the best lazy parent? A friend of mine jokingly, hopefully not fully jokingly, I hope she actually does write this book one day, but she has said often that she wants to write a book that's essentially titled How to Be the Best Lazy Parent. Whatever it is that you would just love. I mean, I was kind of joking earlier about using the word offloading to your kids, but to give it a more positive spin, an opportunity, a gift for your child to take on more responsibility. So I really like to just hone in this idea of it's okay to be lazy. In fact, it might be the best thing that you could possibly do for your kid is to be lazy. So here's your get out of jail free card. A professional just gave you the most professional advice as far as how to help your little one. Anyway, Cyndi and I are going to ping pong back and forth a little bit. So I'm going to hand it over to her to give you some other examples.
Thanks, Erica. One of the other things Erica and I discussed is that you don't just want to do chores inside the house. You want to think about where you go and opportunities to incorporate your children into where you go. It might not sound that exciting to just go to the grocery store, but please, please, please take your kids to do the things that you're doing. At the grocery store, your children can do so many things with you. They can examine the items that you're buying. They can practice using customer service, practice asking you in order to practice customer service. They can load items from the shelf into your grocery cart. I can't tell you how many O&M students I've had that didn't even know there were shelves in a grocery store because they go to the store, they push the cart, and they're never grabbing the items off the shelf. So they don't understand that that's how it's organized. Those little activities that you're doing are helping your children build skills that they can take to other parts of their life. Understanding that shelves can be organized can help them with organizing their own closet later, can help them organize in their dorm room later, can help them with those shopping skills, understanding where things are in the store. So it builds on itself. And finding those tiny opportunities to have them interact really builds up over time. When you're checking out at the front, have them hand over the credit card, have them practice pushing the buttons, show them where the buttons are so that they know that those machines have buttons and what order they're in. That same order of buttons is on a phone pad, is on an ATM, is on so many different things. So those little experiences can build so that they're learning so much more. You can have your children use technology to read labels or compare prices. As an example, for older students, I know a lot of times we're thinking about getting them started, but your older children also have opportunities to grow in their skills. In the future, they can help you make lists for the grocery store. You can have them add something on the list that's for the family or help take a recipe and convert it into your grocery list for what you guys are making at home, to think about, hey, if I want to cook a recipe, I have to plan ahead. And these are all parts of O&M that come together into building your child's independence. In our experience, both Erica and I have really seen our students take pride in being helpful in projects that we're doing and in chores for their family. So it's not just that offloading, that fun way for you guys to get to be a lazy parent. It really is helping build up your child's confidence and independence, and that's so important. When we're talking about technology, there's even more responsibilities your child can take around the home. You can have them help keep track of schedules, both their own and family schedules. You can do that electronically, or if they're Braille users, you can use physical paper. Large print users, electronically is the best method because the more experience they have with that technology, the more they can incorporate those skills into many different areas of their life. You can have them use maps to check traffic before they leave, so they can help you plan ahead for the timing of getting somewhere. They can send emails and texts to confirm appointments or to confirm with you for their ride for appointments. Um, you don't have to know how to do everything. So, honestly, sometimes it's better if you don't know how to use their technology and you have to have them show you, because then they're taking the steps to show you how it works. Um, and it helps them have an opportunity to problem solve because you can't just jump in and do it for them. It gives them an opportunity to do that independently, especially if they're already efficient with using this type of technology with their IEP team. They should be bringing those skills home and incorporating it into many areas of their life. Um, I will say, as a professional, there are so many times when my students know more than I do about their technology. They're using it every single day. And so it's okay to not know everything. YouTube is such a great resource. If you guys get stuck at home and you need to know how to do something, you can Google it. YouTube exists, ChatGPT exists. There's all different ways that you can ask, like, how do I do this using this type of technology, and get resources back. If you get really stumped, my students love calling support. If I have to call support for any of their technology, they love sitting with me and putting it on speakerphone, and they can sit right with me. The support person can tell them what buttons to click, and they're so fast at it that I'm like, wait, what are you clicking in what order? And I'm taking notes as fast as I can for the next time we get stuck. But they love calling support, and that calling support is a real life skill that they're going to need to do in the long run by themselves. So it's such a great practice of how to ask for help, and you get to model for them how to calmly react in that situation. You're not freaking out. You're like, you know what? Here's some resources that we have. So you're modeling so many things in those moments. Um, I recognize involving your children can take more time in the moment. Sometimes you have to plan ahead. Sometimes you are just trying to get somewhere, but I promise you, it will save you time in the long run. When your child is 15, 16, 17 years old and they're able to help you plan the grocery list, they're able to help grab things at the grocery store, they're able to get themselves out the door, plan ahead with those maps. All of that is going to end up saving you time, and it gives them the opportunity to build those skills around self-care and independence. So please think about things that you're already doing and how to incorporate your children into them. And I'm going to pass it back to Erica.
Thanks, Cyndi. So in our efforts to narrow down the number of soapboxes we wanted to stand on, one of the ones that I really wanted to talk about with you as well, was self-advocacy as far as using their voice. Arguably, this is one of the biggest areas of improvement. We give almost all of our students, and it's just something as, well, nothing is really simple, right? But one way to look at it is this simple idea of speaking up for themselves. So why is it an issue? People in the community, probably many of us, if not all of us, have run into this, where people often speak to whoever the sighted person is. Whether it's somebody who is the cashier or wherever, they are just dying for that eye contact in order to communicate. I've just most of the time awkwardly put my head down. Fortunately, unfortunately, I guess there's plenty of other ways that we can just look busy, like having our phone out. You could look lazy and distracted. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, so just to give your child this opportunity of making their own interaction with the public. So, we just really love grocery stores, I guess. Man, it's like the best setting for all kinds of different lessons. And it's not for them to eventually resent grocery stores. They'll just be so independent. There's just so much there. So even in a setting like that, having them speak to the cashier, And even if it's not something like in the community, even phone calls that you're making as well, especially if it's on their behalf. And if there's a child who isn't ready to manage those kinds of conversations, even having them listen to the conversation on speakerphone and then discussing how that conversation went afterwards can still be really beneficial, and giving them that context, giving them that opportunity to understand what went on, why did you say what you said, how maybe someone's tone sounded, and things like that. Because these social skills, these human to human interactions can just go such a long way. Even when students get older, if they don't have the O&M skills that they need for a particular type of travel, just knowing how to advocate for themselves, how to communicate with others can just go such a long way. So this is something that I really, really like to hone in as far as one of the most important skills I think a student can have. And of course, they'll find their own voice. They'll find their own ways to make humor out of things, to put people at ease. But so much of that just comes from experience. And so often this experience is not something that is necessarily given to them. So being the person that just finds, again, any of that opportunity, whether it's them having the conversation with that person, that bus driver, that cashier, whoever it is, that person over the phone. Cyndi was mentioning technology before too, like being the one to send the text or send the email, whatever it is. All of those little moments certainly add up to a lot, and gives our students a chance to really understand the conversations that need to be had and how to conduct those conversations, which, like I said, can just go such a long way. Okay, Cyndi, back to you.
So, like Erica and I have said, we could probably spend years on this phone call giving you guys examples and talking to you about all the questions you have. And we have had so many students over the years teaching us that, and we've had the benefit of having that experience that we can pass along. Um, but the most important thing to remember is that you have an IEP team behind you. You don't have to remember how to do every single thing by yourself. The team is there to support you. So bring your ideas to your team. Think about things that are big, things that are small. Maybe you have a trip coming up this summer and it's your goal for your child to be able to bring their own suitcase through the airport. Talk to your team in advance. We can figure out ways to incorporate that into our lessons. We can figure out ways to say, okay, like here's information you might need in this setting. It's really important to us that our students are prepared for all the things that you guys are doing. So we want to know so that we can help plan ahead and incorporate these things into our lessons. It could be something like you want your child to help pack their lunch or help put away the dishes after dinner. Let us know those things so that we know how to help you and help support your goals for your child and goals that they have ongoing. We also might challenge you. We might say, you know what, that's a great goal. And I bet they can do more knowing your child and the experience we have with them. So we might say, hey, let's get them there. And we might have more ideas of what you can do to help build that independence together. You don't have to wait until your IEP meetings to bring these things up. Talk to your child's team, talk to your teachers of the visually impaired, talk to your orientation and mobility specialists, and let us know what you guys are working on at home and what exciting things you have coming up so we can help you. My advice is to communicate early and often. The second you're thinking about going on a trip, the second you're like, oh gosh, like they're not doing this chore that I really want to be a lazy parent about. I'm tired of doing dishes and I want them to take that over, or I really want them to vacuum. Let us know so that we can start working on that. Sometimes there's a few steps to build a skill. So sometimes it's not going to happen right away. So we need time to plan and make sure we can incorporate that. Whenever you're wondering what ideas to come up with, like Erica said, think about what other kids their age are doing. And then think about adaptations that you know, or ask us about adaptations in order to incorporate those skills into your child's life. We're all here. Everyone on your IEP team wants to help. They want your children to be successful. So please take the opportunity to ask us what you want when you have questions. And I cannot recommend enough thinking of what you're doing with your child and how you can ask us for help with it. I can't recommend that enough. Um, Erica, did you have anything to add to the end?
I think that was about it. I guess I just want to add with, I'm more than confident all of you are putting enough pressure on yourselves as parents, period. And so, I hope one of the takeaways is not to only add pressure, but know that any opportunity that you're finding, any minutia opportunity that you're finding for your child matters and that, it all builds. My daughter isn't even 2 yet, and even with vision, I'm describing the environment all the time. And once she is old enough to scoff and roll her eyes at me, I'm sure she will. But just know you're already doing enough, and even if something that you did was small, like I should have described this, or I should do more of this, like just give yourselves a break. All of these things do matter. Cyndi, should we open it up for Q&A?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Does anyone